For as long as any of us can remember, we have struggled. And if you exegete the word struggle, you'll find that it has three major characteristics: suffering, sacrifice, and service. When we struggle, we suffer. When we struggle, we sacrifice in our relationships, in our jobs, in our homes, in our lives. When we struggle, we are in constant service to something or someone, whether it be the yokes of slavery from yesterday or the bonds, subtle bonds of oppression from today. We struggle and suffer. The great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated that unearned suffering is redemptive. And Lord knows we are long overdue for some redemption. However, in regards to service, I must make this point clear. To be in service is not always a bad thing. When one is in service and it's a labor of burden, this is where suffering comes into play. But when one is in service and it's a labor of love, this is where redemption comes into view. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. struggled. Marcus Mosiah Garvey struggled. Medgar Evers, for those of us who are old enough to understand who these people are, struggled. Brother El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X, struggled. The original Buffalo Soldiers themselves struggled and were all great servants, because their service was a labor of love to the people for whom they served. And with that said, any of us can be great because all of us can serve. All it takes is a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Matthew 23:11 states that he or she who is greatest among you will be your servant. Because to serve is not simply to be successful, it is to learn how to love. And correct me if I'm wrong, you cannot lead the people if you do not love the people. Amen. And you cannot save the people if you do not serve them. Amen. So family, we, the Wilmington Buffalo Soldiers, are here at your service. All right. And if I may, I would like to be of service to you with these words of poetry written and recited by yours truly. The first is entitled Reflections. And the final piece is entitled We Ride. It's a testament to what we do and to what they, the original Buffalo Soldiers, have done. I give to you Reflections. The legacy of the original Buffalo Soldiers transcends space and time. Their persistence and determination influenced future generations, so their memories will never be left behind. Faced with unimaginable hardships, broken bodies and torn clothes, this didn't hinder their mission. It only fortified their souls. So here we stand, emerged from the battlefields of segregation as the next generation, still making history, still defying odds, still holding it down, but as a national association. The NABSTMC was established to honor the Buffalo Soldiers of history so that we may share our own stories of bravery and remove the clouds of mystery. We must understand that justice to our truth will remain undone as long as someone else is giving their account of our day in the sun. So today, sit back and relax and allow me to educate you to a few Carolina facts. Fact: North Carolina's first Buffalo Soldiers motorcycle chapter was formed June 1st, 2001. With mission insight and much work to be done, Fayetteville's first 14 made it about more than just a ride, more than just a fun. They understood then, like we understand today, in order for our communities to succeed academically and economically, a pound of flesh, we all must pay. Through the years, the mother chapter has grown and has raised 4 more chapters along the way. still strong in her commitment, guided by an unyielding moral compass, all while under the command of none other than Mr. J. Fact, with Greensboro soldiers having a lot to offer too, in 2006, somehow they knew. They too established a chapter and began to pursue this worthwhile mission because this is what we do. Fact, in 2008, Charlotte's F Troop stood up so they could represent. The Queen City soldiers was now on a quest to keep this legacy in full effect, holding this history high and never allowing it to fall to neglect. Fact, in 2010, Raleigh stepped into the light so they too could shine, giving their time at community functions and finding worthwhile charities they could support and stand behind. In fact, in 2011, we, the Wilmington Buffalo Soldiers Troop, made our humble debut with just 5 dedicated souls, just enough to secure our stronghold. In and out of the port city, we maintained a high visibility. We could be seen at Azaria and Pine Tree festivals, on Veterans Days and MLK parades, and in our midst was an original Buffalo soldier, honorary member and a man of the highest caliber. Rest in peace, Mr. Leroy McAllister. We support our area Christmas toy drive, 13th Street House for Women, Fran's Fans, establish a scholarship drive, go on charity rides, and give to families in need to help rebuild their lives. Fayetteville, Greensboro, Charlotte, Raleigh, and yes, Wilmington, your guests for today. We greet you all with much love and respect and appreciate the love you've shown in calling us your way. Thank you. The final piece is entitled We Ride. In 1866, they gave us room to breathe. Congress passed Bill number 138, and out of which came the 9th and 10th Cavalry, 24th and 25th Infantry. We stood with the Union Army, and numbers of 200,000 strong, fought international adversities, and even ones here at home, to include the Civil War and all of its racist overtones. As we engaged the Confederate nations, fist to cuff, blood to bone, we gave them back the hell they had given us for so long. We won the war, but still lost 38,000 of our own. The Indian Wars, fought only on the U.S. Western frontier, was predicted to last just a few months, but instead went on for 302 years. From 1622 to 1924, so many lives, so much pain, just another trail of tears. In all, 138 wars during those unfortunate years, but make no mistake, our mission we did not forsake. What we accomplished during the Indian Wars helped to create every U.S. sovereign state, sacrificing life and limb to profit the other man. The Brotherhood stood in defense of this land in such places as Cuba, Honduras, Nicaragua, Spain, and even the Philippines, only to be disenfranchised by lynchings, beatings, and hung from trees. So the ends never justified the means, or so it seemed. But for our families back home, we carried on for the hope of a better day. Or was that too just a dream? But now, like the buffaloes of the past that seem to forever roam, we are here by divine right, mighty and strong. Like the soldiers of old from back in the day, we ride like we live, proud and free, because we were made that way. From mountain high to valley low, we ride. From the Florida Keys to the Alleghenies, we ride. From the central, western, and Great Lakes plains, rolling on deuces for us, ain't nothing strange, because we ride. And from the north to the southeastern frontier, back to our very own Carolina's Cape Fear, we ride. And if we could, from the shores of Cancun to the surface of the moon, we would ride. From Highway 211 all the way to the gates of heaven, we would ride. Now allow me to speak for a minute on the Magnificent Three. They will be the first 3 black officers that commanded the Buffalo Soldiers at some point in history. Henry O. Flipper was the first, you see. he was set to lead the 10th Cavalry. And although his stay was short but far from mild, he left his mark by designing the drainage canal. This system lasted for quite some time. It eliminated malaria and kept people from dying. John Hanks Alexander was next on the scene. He too was a West Point grad from the military academy. And under orders from the Army, he headed out west, stationed at Fort Robinson to help lead the 9th in dreams of being his best. But he was met by his all-white counterparts with the hateful disposition because he was the only brother in a command position. Charles Young was the last of the Magnificent Three, but he was the first in so many ways, as you will soon see. The first black superintendent of Sequoia National Park, he led by example, by showing others the way. He was, of all things, the first black military attaché, the highest ranking black officer in the Army back in his day. And although he's gone now, his legacy still stands. And if you ask some, they wouldn't know. But Colonel Charles Young was an extraordinary man. So if you suffer from low self-esteem, or there is any doubt in your mind, leave it behind. Because as you can see, we are too strong at heart and mind to stay behind the time or be defined by anybody's bottom line. Now, an honorable mention to my brothers and sister soldiers that have passed on and took their final ride home. To them, I salute, because they are the inspiration for this poem. And finally, to our founder, Ken, the Dream, Thomas, much love to you, brother. And with high praises, we will forever sing your song. And to the buffaloes that still stand strong, to you I say, keep it safe. Yes. Live long and
ride on.